Hi, this is Jamila, and welcome back to my channel. Um, uh, if you guys already know, I'm just chronicling my experience with Ancestry and learning about where I come from and things like that. Um, so I tested, again to recap, I tested with Ancestry.com, I tested with 23andMe, I tested with African Ancestry.com, and for the test that did like the whole thing, um, to let you know like which countries and or which areas, which regions. I was found to be mostly Nigerian, and I had some Sierra Leone, some Ghana, some Mali, some Cameroon, and of course some British and Northern Ireland and stuff like that. So that's what came up with the test that I took, the tests that I've taken. From that, I did two things. Number one, I did African ancestry, which could only trace your mother's mothers, and that led me to Sierra Leone, the Timni people. And I hadn't done my father's side because my father's deceased, and my brothers, they live, far away. So I didn't get a chance to do that yet. I don't know if I will, but I might. And then, so I decided to take a different approach, which was I had my mother tested for the Ancestry.com. And so she was not as Nigerian as me. She was like, I was like 43%. She was like 29. She had a lot of benign Togo and whatnot, which I have a guess about why that is. Um, but so yeah, so that's how that came out, and I'll try to post those at the end what the test results were. I think that well, what I did next anyway was I tried to go through my list and find my African cousins so that I can then contact them and get more information about who we are, where we come from, right straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. They know where they come from, and so that would be helpful for me to find out what they know so that, to me, if I can find out what they know, that's better than spending a bunch of money on and trying to fly all over the United States to get my family members to test too, to find out things. Um, that seemed easier to me, the best way to go. It takes a long time to go through those lists and see who's 100% African, who's not. And even still, even if you find 100% African, then you gotta, contact them and wait and hope that they contact you back, with information that you can use to, look further. The problem with me is when I get an answer, I get one answer, then it leads to like five more questions. So African ancestry said, oh, you're a Timni, from the Timni tribe, then that leads me to more questions like, okay, that's great. Oh my gosh, blew my mind. Didn't even know that, wasn't even, gonna guess that, but thank you for that. And now I want to know like from where, which village, Timney, is that just one, area? Is it Freetown? Is it just Freetown? Are there villages within that? Like, there's so many other questions. And I had the kind of same thing with Nigeria. Like, oh, Nigeria, that's great. But that is a country, like what part of Nigeria am I specifically from? What ethnic group, am I, related to? So I had a lot of questions. And like I said, I took the approach of going through the list from Ancestry.com, from 23andMe, and trying to pull out, and from my heritage, get this, my something like that.com. They'll give you a list too, and so and you don't. I didn't have to pay for that one. I just had to upload it. So I uploaded it to that, and then I started looking through those lists to see what I can find as well. And I had at least one cousin from each. Ancestry gave me a lot of cousins, and they weren't all Nigerian. They were mostly Nigerian. I had like one cousin who was from Zimbabwe, and so that was just like, whoa, I didn't expect that. That's cool, So got reached out to her and got a bunch of good information. Um, and a cousin who was from Mali, and I didn't get very much information. I mean, you got to understand, we are asking them about personal, private information. I mean, to them, it's personal. Like, if somebody called me, want to know about my mom, well, where's she from? This and that and the other. I don't know, I might feel strange, especially if the person was like, from another culture, from another country. Like, I didn't really know this person at all. And you're asking me about my mom. I don't know if I want to tell you. So I had, like, I didn't get much information from my cousin who's from Mali, which is really unfortunate, because I would have liked to have known, about that part of my life, or part of my ancestry, I should say. Not my life, but my ancestry. But I have a lot of other information that I try not to dwell on what I don't have, because it's not a race. Like, it's not a who can get the most information the fastest, whatever. Like, this is gonna take years and years and years. Of technology is still new. Like, I didn't even get into it when the technology just came out. Like, I just got into it. So I mean, it's been out before me, and it's just gonna get better with time, and more people are gonna test, and more answers are gonna be made available. But right now, at this point in time, this is what I have to work with, and I got to figure out from this that I have to work with, what information can I gather. And, if people aren't willing to give it, then they're not willing to give it. If people don't know it, they don't know it. And for the ones who did know it, and the ones who were willing to give it, I'm so grateful. Like, I know more today about myself than I did, a year ago, 6 months ago, whatever, forever ago. So, I mean, I'm grateful for that. And I understand now, how valuable it is to, I can, for one aspect of my identity, I know exactly where I came from, what continent, which country, which, state, which city, and, I'm getting close to the village. I'm getting so close to a village in Nigeria that, it's going to be wonderful when I get that final piece of information and I can go there and step foot there, as my ancestors, did, as they lived, where they lived all those, years ago, which is not really that long. When I put in one of my cousins who's from Nigeria, and she's an Igbo. I have a lot of Igbo cousins, so I said that before, and I'm proud of that. Yes, that makes me happy. To know that I, have that, is good. I like it. And anyway, so with her help, I was able to pinpoint, Nigeria, the country, the state, and the city within the state. And I'm waiting on the village, which is going to be, like I said, it's going to be awesome. And a lot of my Igbo cousins were like that. Not all of them. I have some that are just like, but that's expected. That's expected. If everybody was so forthcoming, it would be strange and weird, So you gotta have at least one or two that are just like, nah, I don't trust you. I don't know you. Who are you again? And this whole thing could be a hoax. Blah blah blah. So, but the ones that have given me, the information that I was after, like, I'm so grateful, and it's taken me to, different places mentally. This is eye-opening, for me. The more I learn, the more I want to learn, I read the book Things Fall Apart, and it left me feeling like some type of way. Like, I can't even explain the feeling after I read the book. It was, touching, moving, emotional, and thought-provoking. Like, it was, I can't even explain it. Like, I could probably do a whole video on it, but I would say it's a good read. It's a good read. It puts it on your mind, like, whoa, they had their own culture, their own this, their own that, their own everything, and then, they were affected by the British, good and bad, and just like, when we were taken away. So once that thing happened, it affected both continents, and our ancestors, because I can't say, as an American, our ancestors, were slaves. No, their ancestors were also slaves, like, because we were all family, but we got separated. So, that's what's interesting. Also, we're going to do the naming ceremony for an Igbo name, and that's my choice. I wanted to do that. I know that they have these on the East Coast, and I wasn't able to get there, and I was like, man, I really want to go. but I couldn't go because I had to work. I'm sitting in my office right now. I had to open this office, and I had to, get this office ready and prepare to operate business out of this office, which I do now. I'm taping this obviously after hours, so when things are calm and, I can actually focus on it. But, this is my first priority. My business is. And so I had to take care of that first. So I couldn't go. Long story short, all the summer plans got cut. Trust me, that was just one place that was on my to-do list, but everything got cut so that I could focus on this, and that's what I'm doing. Anyway, so I was like, well, the next best thing. So I went to the Igbo festival with my husband that they have here in Seattle, and it was great. It was eye-opening. It was, it's hard to express, but I did a Facebook Live on it, and I'll do a YouTube video on it too, because it was something I think I want to look back on, like my initial reactions later, which is I think what YouTube is good for, is allowing you to make these videos, these live pictures, that you can go back. It's like a journal, a blog, and look at it and say, oh yeah, I remember when I went to my first Igbo festival. So it was interesting, and I wanted to approach them about doing a naming ceremony, kind of similar to the festival, just adding that one piece to it. And so the chief really liked that idea, and he invited me to come and do my own naming ceremony with my kids and my family. And so I thought that was a good idea. Do ours first, and then we can see exactly what's involved before you go try to plan something for other people when you don't even know, find out what it's all about. So I did that, and it wasn't. First of all, I don't have